Pixel People Pod. Zap, 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 it's on. Rewind the future fraud. The Pixel People Pod.
Hey, we're on. Yeah, we're live. Hey.
Hey.
Well, we're live to tape. So, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Pixel People Pod. This week, it's me, Greg. Say hello, Jan.
Hello, Jan.
And ChrisO, which is what your new name is, Chris, to separate the Chris's. So, we got ChrisO, and the last couple weeks, we've had Chris S. This week, ChrisO. Say hello, Chris.
Hey, Greg. What's up, Jan?
Hey, Chris.
So, yeah, new episode this week. So, what we were thinking about, we've got a bunch of topics really planned up all the way almost through Christmas. This week, I picked the one of foods and candies and other things that we enjoyed in the 80s, since we're getting close to Halloween. It's not just candy, it's foods that we loved in the 80s that we can no longer find now. Some of these pushed on into the 90s, but they have been long gone. I don't think any of these made it to the 2000s. If they did, they were on their dying bed. So that's the topic for this week. We got some doozies on here. But before we do that, we have our first segment of the week.
Here we go. Jan's Gnarly News. Jan's Gnarly News.
Yeah, Jan's Gnarly News. Tell us the news.
All right. October 16th, 1986. Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards organized a concert celebrating rock and roll legend Chuck Berry's 60th birthday.
All hell rock and roll.
Absolutely. It included Richards, Berry, Johnny Johnson, Eric Clapton, Etta James, Linda Ronstadt, and lots more.
Yeah, that was a big deal. He had, Chuck Berry is like the godfather of rock and roll. He started rock guitar. He's the first person you put on Mount Rushmore when it comes to rock guitars, Chuck Berry. Everybody would say that. But he had died off like nobody. He was sort of like, out to pasture. But Keith Richards worshiped Chuck Berry. And he put this thing together. And there's great stories about this because Keith would I think he touched Chuck's guitar one time and Keith punched him or something. I mean, it was like, or Chuck punched him. It was like, Chuck was kind of mean back then. He always was. But you hear stories. I mean, he talked about in this book, Keith Richards did. Like, hey, he hit me and he cussed me out and treated me like crap, but he's Chuck. He's my hero. So this kind of put Chuck Berry back on the map. I remember when it happened, but I've watched it years later, all that stuff. It's pretty cool,
I'm anxious to see if Chris remembers this one. October 16th, 1987 is when Jessa McClure, a little 18-month-old kid, was rescued 58 hours after falling into a whale. Do you remember that, Chris?
No, I was probably 6 months old, so no, I don't really remember that at all. I wish I could add in on it. I wish I could say, yeah, that was a great time.
No,
in
it
my
was
life,
not a
but I
great
really
time.
don't remember it.
That was not a great time in anyone's life when that went down, because I remember, and I'm sure Jan does too, when that happened, that girl fell in that well. It was like,
It was captivating.
yeah,
It was, how are they going to get this kid out? And you could hear her crying, and it was terrible.
it was so
But
big. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, but it was a great time because she got rescued, right?
Yeah.
Right. 58 hours.
So, I mean, that,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's a success story. So that's why I'm saying it's a great time. Not that, now, if it would have ended, she would have just, croaked while she was down in there, then I'd be like, okay, that ain't good, but.
Here's what I think the best thing happened from it, second to her being rescued. We got an entire Simpsons episode based on that. Bart threw his remote radio down a well and was tricking people that his name was Little Timmy O'Toole. That was his name. And help, I'm Timmy. I fell down the well, and then he tried to rescue his radio. Actually, fell down the well, and it's a great episode. Look that up. It's one of the first 5 or 6 seasons of The Simpsons. It's one of my favorite episodes.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that actually.
But little Jessica didn't get any injuries, and I mean, they're just minor, and she went on to have a great life.
Baby Jessica. The
Jessica.
whole country and probably the world was on pins and needles hoping that baby Jessica lived.
Still alive?
Oh, yeah. She gives interviews all the time, like when a certain anniversary comes up, she's on the Today Show talking about it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Born October 16th, 1980, was Sue Bird, legendary WNBA player.
I think she just retired.
Do
or
either of
maybe
you
she's
know
fixing
who
it.
she played for?
Probably Connecticut in college.
I'm talking about
I mean-
the WNBA.
Who?
Seattle Storm.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of this lady. I mean, I feel like the only player that's going to age like that, where we're going to look back and like, you remember, such and such, this person was born, or anything like that, will be your Caitlin Clark.
No,
It seems like that's the only girl who gets.
that'll be who you remember. There's tons of female basketball players that we remember. Like,
I've literally
Cheryl
growing
Miller.
up never heard about any of them.
You've never heard of Cheryl Miller? Reggie
No,
Miller's
dude.
Reggie Miller's
That sounds like
sister?
somebody we go to church with.
Cheryl Miller was better than her brother Reggie. She probably could have played in the NBA. She was that good.
No.
So yeah, just because you haven't heard of them don't mean they don't exist.
Right, Chris.
Just like now, the same way back in the day. If it wasn't the men's, it wasn't mainstream, right? So it should be a shock. It should be a shock that I don't know who it is.
Actually, I mean, yeah, but actually, I think that women's basketball back then, some of the college stuff, it was pretty big. I mean, there was big time female basketball players back then. There just wasn't really a league.
But you got to think. They didn't
we're getting
resonate
off
with
on
me
a rambling. Let's get off
because they didn't come out with video games for women, did they?
No, but I mean, they really didn't have video games for men back then. I mean, they did, but we'll just get off this topic.
But they did.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, I knew who she was because she's legendary. And
All right. October 16th, 1983, the top movie, The Big Chill. Have either of you seen that?
did I watch that with you?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
love
think
that
I
movie.
don't think I was a fan. You liked it, but
Yeah, I love
yeah.
that movie.
It sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Biggest movie on this day in 1982 was E.T. We have some E.T. stuff.
Yeah, we have a
here in
lot
the
of ET
Pixel
stuff down here.
Underground.
Mm.
I'll
Almost
be
bought
honest
it.
with you, I thought E.T.'s overrated to me. I mean, I guess it's good for its time.
I went and watched
But
it in the movies. I saw it in the theaters, and I bet you I've only watched it once since then. I saw it in the theaters because that was huge. That movie was like big that entire year. I've seen it once, maybe in the 90s. I haven't seen it since then. That might be one we got to watch with the
Yeah,
girls.
we need to
we need to rewatch. We have, like I say, we have ET gear down here, but that took the country by storm. ET did. It was all over the place.
Top movie on this day in 1986 was Top Gun.
Top Gun. Another one. I didn't watch Top Gun until like 15 years ago, and I liked it, but I'd never watched it back then.
I've never watched it, so.
It's good, and the sequel was really good.
I see a E.T. Top Gun movie night for all of us.
Yeah, it was. Top Gun was good. It was really good, and then the sequel was as good as the first one. It's one where the sequel they got it right. I'll give them that. So,
Top song in the U.S. in 1982, Jack and Diane by John Cougar.
well, he's popping up on every episode.
I know.
Yeah, when he was still John Cougar.
Right.
Did you know that, Chris?
Yeah, he changed his name.
Yeah, John Mellencamp. He went the record company. He was John Cougar. Then he was like, I'm not giving up my last name anymore. So he became John Cougar Mellencamp. And then one day an album comes out and Cougar's gone. So was his Chili Dogs.
Yeah.
Top song on this day in 1984 was I Just Called to Say I Love You, Stevie Wonder.
I loved that song as a kid, but I couldn't sit through it now.
And the top song on this day in 1987 was Lisa and the Cult Jam, Lost in Emotion.
That's a great song.
It is a great song.
You like that song?
I do like that song.
Okay,
What
yeah.
song?
Lost in
Emotion. Lisa and the Cult Jam.
If I could afford to pay for the music rights, I'd play it for you right now, but I can't. So pull it up on Spotify when this is over.
Sing the chorus for me.
No,
That's
just
okay.
look it up later. So
And that ends this week's edition of Jan's Gnarly News.
Oh, gnarly!
So we have a new segment that we're going to introduce, but I don't have anything for it this week. But I'm going to play the intro just for you to know what to expect for the next podcast.
It's time for errors and corrections, 'cause Greg screwed up again.
So y'all please let us know when you find that Greg has made a mistake.
Yeah.
So we can do this.
Yeah, Greg's errors and corrections. This week, nothing. All right, well, let's get to this week's topic. It is on food items and candies and snacks from the 80s and that we no longer can enjoy. So we have quite the list here. I think I have about 8, and Jan, you got what, 8 or 9?
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Chris, your goal for this week is you are going to be the one we throw this out at and be like, what do you think of that? And do you think you have enjoyed that product? And, to let us know if you've even heard of this before,
Or if
okay?
you've heard of it, yeah.
So I'm going to open up the one that I brought up originally to start this one was Gator gum. We had talked about something a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, I miss Gator gum. It was around the 80s. It was a Gatorade brand of chewing gum, and it was manufactured by Fleer Corporation. And if you know Fleer Corporation, Chris, do you know what Fleer Corporation is known for?
The baseball card?
Right. Yep. Fleer Corp. They made it. They said, when I looked it up, it said they're available in both of Gatorade's original flavors, lemon, lime, and orange. But I don't ever remember the orange. I always got the lemon, lime. But it they came out in 78, and it lasted all the way up until 89. And the contract that they had for the Gatorade name with it expired, so they just stopped making it. But it was my favorite gum. I mean, I had bubble gum and stuff like Bubblicious and stuff like that you love back then. But Gatorade gum, I would chew that stuff. It worked like a bottle of Gatorade to me. You know, it hydrated me, I thought, and it was good. And I wish they would bring it back, but
did it actually have stuff in it to hydrate you?
I don't know. It's probably just the name, but in my mind, I was
Placebo
like,
effect.
yeah, the placebo effect. In my mind, it did.
There used to be baseball cards that would get sold, and they had gum in it that would have the picture of a baseball card on it.
Gum had the picture
Like-
of a baseball card on the gum?
Yeah, so like you'd have a pack of baseball cards,
Yeah.
and then in within that pack there'd be like a slim piece, like a shape of a card,
Yeah.
and they would have like a print on it of just like a cartoon like baseball card.
Yeah.
Like it was just. Do you remember those?
No,
I don't remember what they're called.
I don't remember that at all.
I used to get them when I was a kid.
Yeah, but you were a kid in the 90s, so, I mean, I was probably past that then. So, yeah, I don't remember that. But they put so many, by the time you were getting, especially baseball cards back then, it was late 80s, early 90s. The market got flooded with everything, every kind of baseball card and trading card there was. And, they probably did put that out with something, but it would have been something maybe I didn't try back then. But it sounds interesting, but I wonder how many people saved the gum. I mean, I think Jan has something on this.
Tops was the company that did it.
Oh, okay.
And I can actually remember the gum, but it was not very good.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost tastes like the cardboard that the cards were printed on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah,
all the
and
gum-
it smelled like it too.
Well, all the
Yeah.
gum that came in the baseball cards was garbage. I mean, it was already, by the time you open up the packs of gum or packs of cards to get the gum out, that gum would crumble in your hands. It was garbage. Yeah, anyway.
Jan, what year was
I know it's late
Was that-
80s, and they did it in the 90s as well.
I figured that had to have been started, even though I was a kid whenever I imagine it had been around for a while, because that just seems like a good idea, because what kid doesn't like baseball cards and what kid doesn't like gum? So you put them together, great marketing.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
but there always was gum in with the baseball cards, but it wasn't not printed. All right,
Yeah.
so now Jan's got one for us.
Well, I'm going to talk about one of my gums that I loved back in the 80s,
Okay.
which was Freshen Up gum.
Freshen Up. Chris, have you
Oh,
ever heard of that?
gum.
Freshen Up? Is
Yeah.
that what it's called? Freshen Up gum?
Yeah.
That's what it was called.
Okay, listen,
no.
listen to this.
Here was their tagline: "The gum that goes squirt." It was awesome. It was a square piece of chewing gum that had a liquid center, and it was so good.
You would chew that gum and you get that liquid center. It was awesome. My grandma Sisk always had that. That was stuff she had, and she always gave me a piece of it, and it was great.
What
it was-
flavors?
It was more directed toward adults. It wasn't really, I don't think, directed as a kid's gum. It was more like a adult gum. But
It was an adult gum.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know the flavors, Jen.
But I don't remember the flavors either. I remember like a bubblegum flavor,
Yeah.
a cinnamon flavor. They
I
had a
remember the cinnamon.
one.
That's what my grandma had. The
But,
cinnamon.
ooh, that cinnamon was
They had a
hot.
green one too. That
Yeah.
might have been wintergreen or something. That was yeah.
But
So-
it was
Sounds-
so unlike any other gum during that time that I just loved it.
Yeah, that was when you brought that up originally. I was like, oh yeah, I remember Freshen Up. But yeah, I don't.
So what about the zebra stripe gum? Was that an
That's
80s gum?
fruit stripe had been
Stripes.
around forever, probably in the '60s. Fruit stripe was
Good for 10 seconds.
the 10 seconds of fruit stripe gum is the greatest piece of gum ever made, and then the flavor's gone.
If they could figure out how to make that flavor last,
Yeah,
they would.
fruit stripe.
Or bazooka?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fruit
that-
stripe just went away. Actually, I think last year they stopped production of fruit stripe. So yeah, it's gone.
There was
Oh, wow.
also
Wow.
another bubble gum on my list. We were talking about Tops baseball cards
Yeah.
with the bubble gum.
Go ahead and do that one. now.
Tops also had a bubble gum that came in a tiny miniature juice carton. I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
remembers
I remember those.
They were all
think
kinds
so.
of different kinds of.
Yeah.
They were shaped like little rocks, like you would
Yeah.
see in a fish
Yeah,
aquarium.
I remember those.
Those things were so good.
Yeah, are they still around? I don't think so.
Another
but,
company
yeah.
may make them now
Yeah.
for kids,
Yeah.
but Tops I don't think makes them anymore.
Okay, Chris, I got one for you here that you might actually know about. You might not, but you probably won't because I don't know. You were young. Hostess pudding pies. Now think of your fruit pie you have now, like an apple or cherry pie you get, but it has pudding in it. Hostess put them out in 1986, and they only lasted like 2 years. But they came back. Hostess brought them back for one time, and it's really ironic that I'm talking about this now because they brought them back in '91 for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were green covered pies, and they were Hostess, and inside they called it vanilla mutagen goo, which delivered fresh from the sewers. And they were Teenage
Yummy.
Mutant Ninja Turtle pies. They brought them back in '91, but then they were gone away like a year later. But those pies, even me and Jan talked about that. She remembered them before we ever thought about doing this podcast. We talked about it, and Jan goes, "Remember those pudding pies? They were so good. They had just, pudding in the middle, and they just went away." There's so much of that stuff like that came around for like a year or two and disappeared. But what's ironic is we were looking for something to watch one night a couple weeks ago, and I threw on an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I forget what the whole episode was about, but later on in it, Frank had lost his money, and
It's about investing.
yeah, about investing. Yeah, he was trying to teach him how to invest, and they just weren't getting it. So he went out, got on eBay, and bought all the last remaining Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles green pies from the early '90s. And he's like, "I have all the ones that are left right now, and they're only going to be worth, more money now." And he ends up talking Charlie into buying them off and giving him his entire life savings to buy them back. And then they're eating them, and they're realizing they're like 30 years old and
These
nasty.
things are not good.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny because they actually made some up for that show, and you got to see them. And they were the fruit pie like you get now, like apple pie, but they were covered in green, and it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies. So
Now, what did those come out whenever the second Ninja Turtles came out? The Return of the Ooze,
it depends on when that movie came out. It was '91. It said when these came out. Yeah, I don't know.
1991,
Okay, well there
So-
you go. They were the pies were so
the best Turtles movie, by the way.
Yep.
The best,
So,
still in my eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Chris is
But,
Chris is our
one more-
resident Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. Who, when we do an episode, he'll be on here to give us the history of them.
well, yeah. I could tell you more about Power Rangers, but anyway, going back to the gum.
Yeah.
I mentioned it. I don't know if they got heard. Bazooka was huge for me just because you got the little comics.
But Bazooka
And with
that's another one that probably came out in the '50s or '60s. It's been around forever.
and Big League Chew.
Yeah.
I
But
loved Big League Chew.
Big League Chew came out, I think, in the late '70s. I looked it up, but it's always been something. We've actually talked about getting something down here in the Pixel Underground down here, Big League Chew related. But I'm looking for the
The original.
the original because you can still find it. It never went away. It's actually probably bigger than it's ever been right now. But the caricature on the front of it with the guy with the gum in his mouth is not the same
Yeah.
as it was in the '80s. They've changed the man on there. So I'm trying to find something with the original guy on it, but we'll see. Big League Chew, yeah, that's one for another episode for sure because that was big in the '80s. You thought you were the stuff when you packed your mouthful of Big League Chew. Back then it's like, hey, everybody, tobacco's great. And it wasn't, but
Yeah.
Pair those up with some candy cigarettes, and you were.
oh yeah, you were the
really pumped.
you were the coolest ever. So, all right, Jan, what you got?
Boise's potato chips.
Boise's.
Boise's.
I don't remember
They
those.
were as fun to eat as they were to say.
Really? Was
Yeah.
that their tagline?
No,
or did you,
I just
really?
said that.
Cool. You should be in advertising.
Their
huh?
tagline was, they were boisterous.
Did you really have those in the '80s? You knew them?
Yes,
I don't remember those.
they were really good.
Huh.
They were, you had regular Boise's, sour cream and onion, barbecue, but they were so crispy, and they were baked, but they had these little tiny air pockets in them that made them just extra crispy. They were really good.
They're not around now, though. Did it say when they went away?
They went away about 1992.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff that I've found for this, it was like the early '90s was like their death knell. It was like they could get right into the '90s and it's time to go.
They were made by Keebler.
Oh, okay, huh? I have to look those up later. I don't remember those, and I was a snack connoisseur, still am. But look at me. I know my snacks.
He
So.
does know his snacks.
The next one I have, I'm skipping over because I'm saving it to the end because it's the big one. It's the big one. So, sticking with my pie thing, this one is one that's still around, but I put it on here because it's changed. And McDonald's fried apple pie. Okay, in the '80s, they came around in '68, so they've been around a while. But in the '80s, the greatest piece of pastry, the greatest snack you could ever have, was a hot McDonald's apple pie. They deep fried them. And they came out, and usually when you get them, they were burning your hand. That's how hot they were because they pulled them right out of the fryer. And if you didn't let those things cool for a little bit, you bit into those, your mouth was burnt for a week. You lost skin tissue in your mouth because it was Mars inside those things. But they were the best. And people have tried for 30-something years now to try to get McDonald's to go back to it, but they won't because in the early 90s, there was the push for healthy and all that stuff. So in 92, McDonald's switched to baking their apple pies. And I'm telling you, if you never got to experience an 80s, 68 to 92 McDonald's fried apple pie, you missed out.
The way you describe it sounds like Hardee's pies from today. Have you tried a Hardee's pie?
No.
Like, I don't know.
No, but I'm
So
willing
it's
to.
crispy. So it's crispy and flaky, right?
Yeah.
It's not like not got that baked taste.
Well, I'm going to my Hardee's this week and get one to see because it was. I'm telling you.
Bring me one.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, they're good because it actually has like that. It actually tastes like pie filling.
Yeah.
And it's always hot, and they got pieces of pie, apple in it.
Well, these
like
even look the McDonald's fried pies back then. If you looked at them on the outside, they look like a pork rind because it's basically like deep fried. It was, it was. I will have to throw a picture up on the Pixel Underground when we put up this episode and let people see it that don't remember what they look like because they were.
When y'all come to the competition, if y'all get Hardee's pie, bring me one. How about that? Because those things are absolutely delicious.
Okay.
I'm buying around on me.
And the competition, by the way, he's speaking of is a band competition that Chris's daughter, our granddaughter, is in. And there's going to be an episode coming up here in the next month or two on high school band and other extracurricular activity. And with Janlyn back on that episode to speak about her first year in high school marching band. Keep your ear out for that one. So, Jen, what you got?
All right. Up next on my list is Giggles Cookies, made by Nabisco.
Giggles Cookies.
Giggles Cookies. They were popular because they were round, and you had cream.
Around a cookie?
They
Wow.
were round. And they had cream in the middle, but the cream in the middle was fudge and vanilla swirled.
I think I remember those.
You got two different kinds. But the top part of the cookie was a smiley face. That's why they called them Giggles.
I remember those. I remember Giggle Cookies. Yeah.
And to me, I mean, they were the original smiley face emoji cookie.
Huh. Yeah.
You could get chocolate or vanilla, but each one of them had 2 types of cream filling in each cookie.
Chris, would you try that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I pretty much eat anything, so I'll at least try it once.
That is true.
So my next one is actually not a food item. It is a food delivery system, so to say. But it was something that hit me that really great in the 80s. And this one actually went, I'm kind of cheating on this one a little bit. It started in 88 and it ended in 98. But it started in the 80s.
It still counts.
And I really don't think you couldn't do this anyway, just for the way we are now as a world plus cost. But it was the Wendy's Super Bar. Wendy's, Chris, do you remember that?
No.
Wendy's fast food, starting in 1988, had a buffet bar. It wasn't huge, but it was called the Super Bar, and it cost $3.69. That's how much it was back then. Think about that. Now you could eat the Wendy's buffet bar for $3.69. It didn't have burgers, didn't have that stuff, but it had spaghetti and garlic bread. And that garlic bread on the Wendy's Super Bar to this day, I'll tell you, is the greatest garlic bread you could ever buy. And it had a full taco station and a garden salad set up and pudding for desserts. So that was, you go to that, and, hey, can we get the Super Bar? And you would just, get the garlic bread, some spaghetti, and then make up like a taco salad for $3.69. Wendy's was probably, that was a bold undertaking to throw out but I was reading up on it. It was like, it was so hard to keep them clean. And these days you could never do that. People were a little bit more polite and a little bit more cared about how they were seen in public and how they acted in public back even in the 80s and 90s versus what they do now. If Wendy's tried to put one of those out now in a store, it would be destroyed within 2 or 3 hours.
I'm going nowhere near it.
Yeah, and I'm not going near it. Yeah. But that was a big thing when it came out. I remember that. But again, I would kill for one more bite of that garlic bread. Maybe somebody throw some. All right, Jan, what you got?
Next on my list is another Keebler item, potato skins.
Oh.
Also another potato chip.
Let me add something to this, by the way.
Okay.
Tato skins, not the TGIF potato skins you get now. They were similar, but no.
Although TGIF bought this product.
But the Tato skins in the 80s were 1,000 times better than what passes for potato skins now.
Yeah, they were so good. They were made to resemble the edge of a baked potato skin, so that's where they got their name.
Yeah.
But they were crunchy and crispy, and it seemed like their flavor was just very brilliant and lasted a long time.
Yeah, it was very pronounced. It was there. That's what I'm saying. They were. I remember when those came out. Mom would buy a bag of that every now and then, and it was like a nice treat. And we sell those at work now in the vending machines, and I've had access
It's
to
not
like
the
free
same.
the TGIF ones. We used to stock them when I picked all the products for their vending company, and I may go back and get one off the shelf, but I rarely ever did because it's just not the same.
No, they're not the same. The
So I don't remember those, but what about potato stick?
Oh,
You
those
remember
are
those?
good.
That,
Oh yeah, well they're
You
still
remember
around.
those?
Yeah, they're still around.
yeah,
Yeah,
those are good.
but I feel like those had to have been started back in the day because I
would-
don't seem
I would
as
think
much now.
potato sticks was probably around way before that. But yeah, their prime was way. It's been long gone since the prime of the potato sticks. There's too many snack options now. Back then, when the cheese ball, the puffed cheese ball was a big deal, until Cheetos and all that came around and just killed the cheese ball. But yeah, a lot of stuff like that, went away. Yeah, the potato skins, I would wish they would bring them back, but I don't think there's people bought into the inferior TGIF potato skins now, so the odds of getting the real potato skin back are slim to none. So, anything else on those, Jen?
No, I mean they had great flavors too. I can remember the cheddar cheese and bacon and sour cream and chives.
Sour cream and chive. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the best.
Yeah.
So, the one I have now, and I doubt anybody that's listening to this probably ever had these, but they were called figurine bars. They're put out by Pillsbury. So, they came out in the 70s, and they were diet bars. They were 138 calories per bar. Chocolate caramel, vanilla, and raspberry. And they were like wafer bars, sort of like the Ruger wafer things you get now, but wider. And they had like a glaze over it, sort of like a chocolate glaze or something over it. And my mom, that was in the early 80s, it was like, the diet phase started kicking in, and everybody was trying to push that stuff. So, really pushed those figurine bars. My mom would buy those, and I was a chubby kid. So, Mom was like, here, we're going to snack, eat one of these figurine bars. Well, I researched them. There were 138 calories per bar, and there was 2 bars per serving, and I'm pretty sure I ate both of them. So I really, it's more calories I was eating than I would be a candy bar back then. But because they were supposedly healthy for you, I couldn't find any of the rest of the nutrition on it and the sugar content and all, but there's no way they were anywhere healthier but because it's figurine, watch your figure. But they died out in, I think, 92, I read, but they had a taste about them, though. It was better than like most of the snacks I would get. So when Mom be like, here, just eat one of these, the vanilla ones, the ones I ate all the time, they were good. But they'll never bring that back.
Them making it extra tasty is what made you eat 2 or 3 of them. So
Yes,
maybe they should have made them taste worse.
Maybe
than
I
they
should
were.
sue Pillsbury for why I'm so out of shape now as an adult. Thanks a lot, Pillsbury. Hear from our lawyers.
The next one on my list is kind of a regional thing. It was the Sunbeam iced honey buns
Yes.
from back in the 80s.
Yes.
You can buy iced honey buns today by different manufacturers, but they are not the same as the ones that we ate in the 80s.
Me and Jan sort of bonded and then sort of created a running joke about it because we were talking about honey buns one time. I think it was when we were just dating. And I would talk about how my mom, every now and then, when she'd take me and my brother to school, she would stop at the store down below our house and get us the Sunbeam iced honey bun and a chalky milk. And Jen was like, I got that, just got one every now and then. I was like, oh, Mom bought us those all the time. But it was like, we bonded over it. Yeah, we knew the exact honey bun it was. It was, you had to have that Sunbeam iced honey bun. There's never been one as good as that since then.
I learned by researching this that supposedly they were introduced in Greensboro, North Carolina.
There you go. Sunbeam, yeah. It's probably, yeah. That was the only ones you could buy. When you went to the stores in the 80s and the late 70s and 80s when we were kids and stuff, you didn't have all these options and all this stuff. Like, you had the Sunbeam pastry and maybe a little Debbie, and that was it.
Yeah, not a lot of choices.
But the really weird thing, though, is I can remember as a kid, even to this day, if you're going to put 2 honey buns in front of me, I'm taking the iced honey bun. I mean, I've worked in vending now for 30 years, and we hardly have ever sold an iced honey bun. We always put the glazed honey buns, and when we have put iced honey buns out there, the glazed outsells it 2-1, and I don't understand it. It's just not as good. But that's me, and that's you. That's why we do well together.
Exactly.
Chris, what about you when you do eat a honey bun? Is it glazed or iced?
I mean, I like they got some that have like the jelly in them. I like those. I mean, I don't eat that stuff really much anymore, but when I worked at MDI, I worked third shift. I lived off of them.
Yeah.
So
But
I don't really remember the
glazed or iced though.
I think they're glazed
Yeah.
because we stick them in the microwave and get them good and warm.
For
And that was,
some
like, the
reason,
best way to
most vending places just do not push glazed or iced honey buns. I don't understand it, but
Well, the ones that have the
they're
fruit mixed in,
yeah.
they have glaze on them.
Yeah, we do sell those, but it's not the same though.
Like
It's
the
just,
raspberry iced?
yeah, they're just not the same.
What about the Boston cream iced?
Yeah, and it's still not the same though. Okay, Chris, here's one. Chris used to work at McDonald's, so I'm throwing some knowledge on him right here. My next one is the McDLT, and we were talking a little bit about this the other night. But it's funny because my father-in-law, I've been taking him food every now and then, and he wants me to get him a burger. And I went to McDonald's several times, and I think I got him like double cheeseburgers. The only burger you have at McDonald's is the Big Mac, the quarter pounder, and then like the triple burger, the double burger, I like that. Can't really get a burger with lettuce and tomato on it at McDonald's. And he had told me one time that's what I like is, I want lettuce and tomato on my burger. So I've had to quit going to McDonald's when I pick him up something because they don't have what he wants. But they used to, and it was in the 80s, and it was a big push, the McDLT. And it was introduced to McDonald's in 1985. And if anyone remembers this, the styrofoam containers that came in were huge because it was a double styrofoam container. And you took the lid off, and on one side was your bottom bun, the burger, and the cheese, and on the other side was the top bun flipped over with your lettuce and tomato on it. So you had to put it together. It's supposedly it was like, hey, double like this, it keeps the warm side warm and the cold side cold, but it really didn't because, plus you had to cram those big styrofoam containers in a bag, and it was really, I don't think they thought it out very well. The containers were the big selling point, showing how they did that, but they were canceled in the mid-90s because, well, they just weren't that popular. But also, they were going away from all that styrofoam. And these things were just eating up styrofoam. They were huge. And supposedly better for the environment, they got rid of all that and just canceled the McDLT. But here's a little thing for you to look for. Go on YouTube, pull up McDonald's 1985 McDLT commercial, and look at the guy who's in it. It's a little-known actor back then by the name of Jason Alexander, who later on became George on Seinfeld. But that's one of his big things back then was he was the guy that introduced the McDLT in a McDonald's commercial. So, but I don't think I think they did push the Arch Deluxe when they came out with that, when Ronald McDonald got, adult, and they tried to introduce some different burgers, but nobody really took to them, and now they just, their burgers, what you get is, what you want is what you get at McDonald's. You're not going to get anything special like that now, so...
Have to get a cookout for that.
Yeah. So we're fixing to lose Chris because he's got to go. So Chris, got anything to say?
No. Thanks for inviting me on. And I didn't really have a lot of input, but hopefully people didn't turn off. Yeah. So that's what we can hope for.
Yeah.
But I hope y'all have a good night.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know how the metrics go on this episode, whether we have you back or not. So.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all have a good night. Go Ducks. See y'all.
Chris.
All right. So we lost Chris here at the end, but the Jen's got one left, I think, right? Two left? Okay. Hit your two because I have one left that I'm going to do, and it was the biggie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Fat Frog ice cream bars.
Fat Frog
80s.
ice cream bars. I don't know if I remember
We
those.
can buy green spotted frog-shaped ice cream on a popsicle stick.
Huh.
It was great.
I don't remember that.
They had bright red bubblegum eyes. They were kind of spooky looking, but they were really good. They didn't exist for a very long time, and they were gone.
That was interesting. I don't know if I ever tried that at all. That was one got past me. Probably because that one got past me because when it comes to the final one here, I was too busy eating this final one. So
Okay,
go on.
probably.
Yeah. All right.
All right. My last one was Sizzling.
Sizzling. I remember that.
Sizzling?
Yes. My mom and dad bought that for a while because it's supposed to be healthy sausage.
It was because their tagline was "Move over, bacon. There's something leaner."
Why sizzle when you can sizzle lean?
Sizzling.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't remember my mom ever buying this, but I just remember the commercials.
Yeah, well, that's a thing where, where advertising really helped that product because you come up with a good jingle or a good slogan, it'll sell some product.
Right.
And that Sizzling sold a lot of product off their commercials and their little tags. So, yeah, I give them props for that. I remember Mom and Dad bought them for a while. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, it did contain less fat than bacon, but it still had 37% fat by weight.
Why do I keep saying sausage? It's bacon. Yeah, it's bacon. Yeah.
But that made people complain because it had lean in the name, but it still had 35% fat by weight.
Yeah, now it's turkey bacon, which we eat a lot of.
They actually continued making this till about 2005.
Really?
Right.
That lasts a lot longer than I would have thought.
And it was made from several types of meat.
Oh.
Pork shoulder, beef, turkey. And it was cured and then ground up.
Probably just healthier eating real bacon back then. You look back on it now, I was like, yeah, just stick with the real bacon.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to the final one, and I think I saved this one to the final one because Jen and I both threw this out when we were talking about this idea, and we both, just like most of America, would kill to have these back. They were the greatest frozen snack, I think, in the 80s that you could have in your house. You know, not going out and eating, but if you want to reach in that freezer and get something cool, the Jell-O pudding pop.
They were so good.
Yes, they were so good. I always liked the vanilla, and I think my brother liked the chocolate, and then they had the chocolate vanilla swirl ones, but the vanilla were gone first. That was mine. You know,
I didn't care what I ate as long as I
yeah,
got
they were
one.
all great. Yeah, but these frozen ice pop treats were originally made and marketed by General Foods. Pudding pops first originated in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and became very popular in the 1980s. In their first year, they earned $100 million in sales, and after 5 years, they were doing over $300 million in sales annually. They sold strong into the 90s, and then they eventually discontinued them because they just weren't making enough money off of them. But I do not understand why those didn't last. I don't understand it. Maybe because as time went on, just like television from the 80s, as you get in the 90s and on, there's so many more options. You know, back when we was a kid, you had 4 or 5 channels at most of regular television. Now you got a gazillion. Maybe that just because, you know, everybody and their mother started putting out ice cream bars and it killed. But I don't know if they could survive the last 10 years of the Bill Cosby stuff,
no,
you know.
They would have never survived that.
Because they've become like a running joke now, you know, with the pudding pop and Bill Cosby. But they were, which is funny because to take this back to the 80s, Jan and I watched the new Naked Gun movie with Leslie Nielsen in it tonight.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, yeah. I gotta cut my laugh. I just cut some. I mean, I'm laughing a lot on this because we and Jan both laughed out loud because the bad guy had Pamela Anderson. He was throwing his moves on her, talking to her, and he gets her some wine, and they're pouring some wine, and she starts drinking it. That's from the Bill Cosby collection, and she spits it back in a glass, and we both laughed out loud because Bill Cosby, our hero in the 80s, you know, he's can't talk about Bill Cosby anymore. Poor 80s, you know, the 80s, we lost some heroes in the 80s. And that movie especially, it even had O.J. Simpson in it. And we lost O.J.
Huxtables were great,
yeah,
but now we just got to forget them.
Yeah, and we lost O.J. in the 90s. We could have went on for another hour on this. There was a lot of stuff that, you know, these were some of the obvious ones, but there was so much stuff that we got to enjoy in the 80s, especially snack and candy-wise. And a lot of stuff debuted, like Nerds. Do that one day, Nerds. I could do a whole episode on Nerds candy. It's made a big resurgence right now. We sell a lot of that in vending.
Nerds clusters.
Yeah, Nerds clusters, we sell a ton of that in vending, and especially at colleges. Those college kids love them some nerd clusters. But anyway, I think that'll do it for this week, Jan. You have anything else to add on this one?
I don't.
Just bring back the pudding pop.
Exactly.
All right, say it. Get the tagline in, Jan.
Shine on.
The Pixel People Podcast.